What is the one common thing that all these big info product and coaching agencies and businesses have? Let me give you a hint. It's not the type of content they make. It's not their specific sales strategy or conversion. It's the tracking that they do. They know the ins and the outs of their business. They know when a fly moves, they're able to tell. They know exactly the data from the moment they post something on their front end until someone pays them. And if you don't know that, if you don't have a constant and specific tracking system in your info business, then this video is specifically for you, especially if you make anywhere between 15 to 50, 75, 100K a month and you don't have a consistent income. You don't have a predictability in your company. You don't know how you made your money and how you can replicate that. This video is specifically for you because I'm going to be going over the exact step-by-step tracking system I use for all of my clients, including my own business, that has made me tens of thousands of millions of dollars in the past 12 months in the info space. So listen up to what I have to say. This is going to be extremely valuable. This is how the entire ecosystem of your data should look like, comprising of the front end, the conversion, and the back end. Let me dive in right away into the front end. So there's obviously different kind of channels that you want to tap into when it comes to the front end. Leads will obviously start piling in with the ads, reels, YouTube, stories, follows, just basically a whole combination of channels that your leads will fall into. Now, obviously, every single channel has its respective component that you need to track. I won't get in the nitty gritty of the ads, but there's obviously different tracking sheets, high raws, and all that kind of stuff as well. So there's different kind of softwares that are intended to track ads. However, what I will tell you guys is this: once you have leads that are coming in from these different traffic and channels, you need to have a filtering process. You need to have a mechanism set in place, whether it's a top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel. Notice how there's less and less leads that are going through the filtering process. That's done strictly on purpose, because why would you want a high amount of leads, if not the same amount of leads, from the top of funnel to the bottom of funnel? You're making your life too hard. The entire purpose of a funnel is to push an educated audience. So what's going to happen? And the quality is going to increase while the quantity decreases. That is the entire purpose. But you could have this filtering process set in stone, but if you don't know what content is performing, then it's useless. So what do? You hire VAs or people on your team to make tracking sheets like this: the title, the amount of views, the amount of likes, comments, followers gained, qualified followers. So you need to know from your followers which kind are qualified. Now, how do you know the difference between a regular follower versus a qualified follower? Well, I'll give you the best example. If you're doing a trading niche and you're doing a B2C market, obviously, guys, when it comes to a qualified follower, the number one thing I'm looking at is, are they based in North America? Do they have at least 2, 3, 500, 1,000 followers on their account? Are they posting consistently? If it's, for example, an account that has no profile icon, no display picture, no posts, 2 followers, that is not a qualified follower, right? So you want to see which content specific is attracting followers versus qualified followers. What's your follower per view? What's the rating? What's the video type? What's the content type? You have to have tracking behind every single reel and every single YouTube video that you post. You need to have this set in place. Otherwise, you will not know what content is performing. This is done the same way with the stories. You have to have a Miro board or a tracker system. And this is an example of one of my clients, Andrew, where we're tracking every single story, every single type of story, the mechanism behind it. But most importantly, we have a drop-off rate that essentially shows from story to story to story exactly how many people are dropping off. Until the end over here, I know exactly how many eyeballs got from here all the way to here. So I'm able to systematically increase the amount of eyeballs and the retention. Now, while you have the reels and you have the stories, what's going to happen is that you're going to be able to have the proper information to make content engineered to receive as many qualified ICP followers and leads. Why? Because you know over here how many qualified followers you get from a specific reel or a specific YouTube video, and you know over here from the stories how many eyeballs you can retain from the moment you begin a story sequence until the end. And you're able to see which story causes the highest drop off. So guys, after a certain amount of time, when you have tracker sheets so filled out on your reels, your YouTube, your stories, you're able to gauge what's working in your audience within your market. So you now know predictably what to post. Many of you don't do that. I can 100% guarantee many of you guys wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, what's the market posting? What are my competitors posting? Let me just post the same thing. If you do that, no wonder you're not consistent. No wonder your months look like this. But anyways, I could bash on you guys all day. My point being is I want to help you guys fix this. So before I go even further, that is exactly what my agency growthcapital.io does. I genuinely help info product owners or info business owners that are making anywhere between 15 and 50K. Right around this mark over here, you're stuck and you cannot seem to break through. Listen, that is the reality for many of you. That is specifically what I help for. There's obviously a large variety of different deliverables that I have, but listen, take a moment, book in a call down below. I have a link. If you're stuck between 15 to 50K per month and you need help scaling and you see that you do not have tracking within your info business, book a call down below after this call, or even right now, my Calendly is there. It's going to ask you different questions. If you qualify, book in a call. I will give you a full audit of your current info business and I will tell you exactly what tracking systems and what tracking you need to implement in your own info offer. So once you have enough information from your stories as well as from your reels and YouTube, you can now scale and post consistently. So you pump everything back into the front end. You know exactly what kind of post you need to have on your account to be able to generate as many qualified followers and as many engagement and as much qualified engagement as possible. So nothing is guessed. Everything is very, very predictable. That is exactly what you need to be doing. This is the acquisition part, but the conversion has to follow. In the conversion cycle, you have a specific call process that a DM setter needs to follow. So whether it's the inbound or the outbound, DM setter captures it. Qualification sets in place. If it's a DQ, send YouTube and follow up within a couple weeks. If they're qualified, go ahead and book a call. Here's where it gets interesting. Obviously, you guys are gonna have different coaching offers. So you need to tell your DM setters and your sales team the difference between your ICP. If I'm offering e-com or a day trading offer, I'm gonna have beginners and I'm gonna have intermediates. If they're beginners, you have to expose them to different pre-call videos before the actual sales call. I'm gonna expose them my life story, my origin story, so they know, like, and trust me. And I'm also going to expose them a video on how to start. Now, let me break that down a little bit. Why do you wanna showcase a prospect your life story or your origin story? Well, nowadays in the info product space, and I won't name names, but credibility is at an all-time low. It's become extremely tough to build credibility. That is where an origin story comes into place, where people can see where you come from, how this specific business model changed your life, what your values are, who you are as a person, and that is where you get maximum leverage. Because guys, let's face it, so many other people out there provide the same vehicle, but no one can replace you. And that is the art of proper positioning. If you can position yourself in the marketplace in a proper way, and you can directly communicate your value in the industry, you will separate yourself. Who are you? What have you gone through? What do you stand by? What are your values? What are your traditions? Everything, whatever it might be, what's your personality? That video is specifically intended for people to know, like, and trust you. And then while credibility is built and they know you, that's where you send over an educational video, whether it's how to start because they're a beginner or whether it's a specific problem or solution because they're intermediate. But get this, the reason we set a problem or solution is because back over here in the DM setting script, we know exactly what problem they had. So we send over an asset specific to the problem that they had. So if you're able to solve someone's problem through a specific content piece before the call takes place and they know, like, and trust you, you will overcome objections. And the only objection will be, I might not have the money. Okay, payment plan, split, done, easy. That is how your sales calls should take place. If a prospect shows up and there's no close, it does not matter. Send them back to the ecosystem and they'll be able to convert. And I'll give you guys a freebie. freebie just because I'm feeling nice. This is what I tell all of my clients to do, is instead of just giving them a freebie, give them partial access to your mentorship. Send them over the intro videos, the first module of your mentorship in a Google Drive as a token of appreciation. Because what we've seen, and this is just a recent trend, is if a prospect does not close on the sales call, but they consume the first module of your content, you would be so surprised that if you get a DM setter or an automation to send them over a follow-up text a couple days later asking how they found the first module, so many prospects will actually reach back out and say, bro, you know what? I enjoyed the module 1 so much that I need to join and see the rest of the modules. I need to see what else you have to offer because of how valuable it is. That is how smart you have to be. You could literally just take this and you'll make so much money. That's how valuable this kind of information is. And the best part about it is you have to train your setters in a way where once a prospect closes, you obviously have an onboarding form get sent, but most importantly, your setter has a framework and a Miro board built out like this, where every single lead over here has their conversation tracked, meaning over here, if his name is, let's say, Bob, I know the conversation Bob went through with my DM setter. So I'm able to see on a month-to-month basis in October, what's the habit, what's the tendency, what is the repeated action that the leads have to go through for a call to be booked. If I see that at a specific point over here, they ask a specific question or they have a specific limiting belief, I know that I can make a reel right over here that will overcome the limiting belief. So when it comes time to having the actual DM setting conversation, that limiting belief is now broken. Guys, take a second. Do you guys see how systematic everything is? No one is doing this in the marketplace. That is why all my clients scale. All my clients win and get paid in fulls every single day. And that is why you're going to get paid in fulls every single day when you decide to work with me. Not a matter of if. I know every single person here will work with me eventually. Whether it's in a week, whether it's in a month, whether it's in 3 years, I don't care. I know we'll work together and I know I'm going to scale you to at least 100K a month because that is what I do every single day. So pay attention and look at how systematic this is. But it doesn't just end over here. Once we have a month-to-month tracking of how your conversation, how your flow typically looks like, we have an onboarding form sends out. This is an example from one of my clients where we ask specific questions. What was the first touch point of me? What made you decide to join? Why did you pay for my one-to-one mentoring? What specifically in my content made you want to join? How long did it take you to decide to start? What could I have improved to get you to join me earlier? We are literally telling prospects in this onboarding form what we could have done to increase the conversion over here. So once we have this entire data of why they joined, how long it took them to join, and what we could have done to speed up the process, we are not able to put all this information back into YouTube, Reels, and Stories. So as you can see, we engineer this in a way where every single piece of information that the leads give us, we now capture to our advantage. Same thing we do over here is the same thing we do over here. So guys, can't you see that just from the front end and just from the acquisition and the conversion, there's no way you could fail? How can you fail if you have your own prospects and your own clients telling you how to win, telling you how to make them pay you more money? They're telling you how to pay you more money at a faster rate and at a larger sum. However, while all this is being done, you need to track everything. That is where end of day forms come into play. Post book call recaps from your sales calls. Post dial recaps from your dialers. The content tracking systems, all of this gets inputted into a Looker Studio where I'm able to efficiently track on a day-to-day basis the outcome of every single day. The reason why this is so important is because if I want to go and see on a specific day where there was a large amount of inbound conversations or a large amount of calls being booked, I'm not going to ask myself, why were there a large amount of calls being booked on Monday or on Tuesday? I'm not going to ask myself that. I'm going to go my front end. I'm going to see what did I post on Monday or Tuesday that might have caused a higher amount of conversion and a higher amount of calls being booked. I'm not asking myself and leaving myself in the blind. I know exactly why this happened. And that is why I'm using this as a reference. I'm also able to look and see which setters are performing better, where my cash collected is coming from. If you don't know where your cash is coming from, whether it's your Reels, your YouTube, your Stories, wherever it might be, your ads, how can you double down? So not only am I tracking the best kind of setters that I have on my team, but I'm also able to track the calls being booked. Are they booked, for example, from the ads? Are they booked from DMs? Are they booked from Reels that go into DMs? Or are they booked the VSL? Whatever it might be, if you are able to have this data, you will win. Because if out of all these metrics, this outcome and the reels is where you get the most amount of cash. You can just pump it into there. Why would you break your head over asking yourself where the cash is coming from when it's right in front of your own eyes? So this entire this entire data tracking system and backend is engineered in a way where you're never left asking yourself questions of where does this cash come from? Why did I get this many booked calls today? Why did my setter do this many booked calls today, but last week did this many booked calls? You can just look at the front end and look and see exactly with the conversation and the content being posted, what could have caused this. So that is how you replicate. So your setter is going to be able to know right away the response percentage, the qualification percentage, drop-off percentage, conversion percentage, show percentage, close percentage. You're able to see from the drop-off percentage why there was a big drop-off. What could have caused it? Was it the piece of content? Was it the question asked? Was it the way we said something? If your setter doesn't know these metrics, that by the way, you could 100% have him fill out a tracker sheet that I will give you. Just DM me on Instagram, StekoGP, STCKOGP. Give you the tracker sheet that I use for my current sales team. They know their entire data. If your setters do not know data, they will not be able to scale and they will not be able to win. A setter that knows its data knows on a daily basis how much they have to make. So tracker sheets specific to setters and specific to closers. What do we track? Traffic, specific content, setting process, conversion, fulfillment. That is just the bread and butter that you need to scale your info offer. There is so much more I could have gone through, but this is just the basics that you have to do to scale your offer to multiple six figures a month. And guys, I'll be honest with you, not many people are doing this whatsoever. You guys will be so surprised. I've spoken to so many people out of my years of being in the info space, and I have yet to meet a single client that I've onboarded that has this specific data tracking ecosystem. So guys, I'm telling you, use what I'm giving you, use this tracking system in this video, and you will be able to break through whatever bottleneck you're facing, whether it's at 60K, whether it's at 30K, whether it's at 100K, and then you're back down to 80K, 70K, 60K. I know it sucks. I've been there. It's tough. You have doubts, fear, hesitations, insecurities. You're looking at your bank account, you're looking at your fan base's dashboard asking, why is this not growing? You're waking up saying, what do I have to post? What are my setters doing? Why is my setter not performing? What is this closing rate? What's my percentage rate? If you don't know your qualification rate, your offer rate, your closing rate, your show up rate, your drop off rate, your offer, your conversion percentage, whatever it might be, if you don't know any of these data points, if you don't even have these systems, book in a call down below. Let me out your entire system and you see that what I offer makes sense for your info business. We'll work together. I know I'll scale you. I have so much conviction in what I offer. I know I'll get you to at least 100K, if not $500,000 a month. Because if I was able to get my clients over $500,000 a month, if not almost $1 million a month, and I've been able to make $4 million plus in the past 12 months in the info space, I know I'll get you to at least 6 figures a month. So book in a call down below my Calendly. Check me out on Instagram, StekoGP. I answer to every single DM. Text me, give me some feedback on what you would like to see more. Leave a comment down below. What was your favorite part? And what are your thoughts are with this entire ecosystem? And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay blessed.